What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back again with another update video regarding Chantel and Pedro and this whole madness with him, or with herself taking out the 250 plus K out of their joint account. But before we get into it, let's start off by giving a big massive shout out to every single person that is a member of the channel, that is a member of Patreon, and that is a subscriber as we continue to grow. Now, with that being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, wow. Now, I cannot confirm that this information is 100% correct, but this is exactly what I've come across posted all the way on Reddit. Now, as you can see here, the trust fund that her mother, Karen Talley, established to pay each of her children a sum of 250K, okay, dollars at a specific age, specific trigger ages, likely at 30, 35, 40. Hence why Chantel removed the 250 from their account. It was her trust fund money that she had received when she turned 30. Pedro didn't earn $250,000 by working in a factory and pretending to sell houses. Chantel didn't earn $250,000 by working in a hospital for a year. Her mother is so overbearing and makes those comments, harvesting the American dollar, because she exactly has assets to protect. Her mom may be kooky, but she has protected Chantel from this hanky-panky boy, Pedro. And you know what, though, ladies and gentlemen, this does make a whole lot of sense, because for me, myself in particular, I wasn't too sure how there's so much money in the account, given the fact that Pedro has only been a realtor for a short period of time. And also, Chantel has only just become a nurse. And we know before that, they were pretty much making meet end, because Pedro wasn't working and all the madness behind it. So this does feel 100%, in my opinion, correct. And again, Karen is definitely someone that would have her kids' best interest. She's definitely someone that will protect the kids at any means necessary. But again, though, I cannot confirm this information is 100% correct, but I can confirm that I do believe that this is probably at least 90%. Maybe I'm being a bit too generous. At least 80% correct. Yes, I'll leave 20% there, or maybe it's not correct. But I feel like it does fit the bill, because we know that there is no way that Pedro's family would have been putting money into this trust fund. And also, let's not forget the fact that it was a trust fund for Chantel. That means that she has every single right to take money, to take all of it. Even though it was on a joint account, it is still her money that she got from a trust fund from her mother. And because that is money that she got from her mother, Pedro has no say in any kind of way. And it's actually quite disgusting, given that this is true. It's actually quite disgusting, disturbing, and annoying that Pedro thought he was going to be able to divorce Chantel and walk away with at least half of that money, given the fact that he had already been taking money out of that account. Remember, Chantel did say to him, well, I've noticed that there's 4K, 5K, 6K, around those numbers that have been taken out prior to you even wanting to leave me, prior to you even going to the divorce attorney. So clearly you've been doing some madness with the money that clearly wasn't even his to touch. I mean, you could say it was his because it was theirs, but it really wasn't his because it was really Chantel's. But of course, Chantel, being the person she is, she wanted to make sure that this money went to both herself and her husband, which is absolutely fantastic, right? But because he decided to cut it short, she obviously decides to take it all out. And you know what? It makes all the sense now why she has behaved the way she has behaved. But again, though, I will wait to find out if we can get a bit more confirmation, maybe directly from the family or a source around the family per se. But right now, this is pretty much what is happening. And I can tell you this now, ladies and gentlemen, people are definitely talking about it a whole lot more. But at the end of the day, you guys let me know what you're thinking. But to be fair, I'm just reading right here. Someone said, according to this report, the money was no longer in the trust fund. It was actually distributed to Chantel. After distribution, if she is gifted to a marital estate by putting in a joint account, it very well could be a marital property. Right. Ooh, that does make it a bit more sticky, doesn't it now? It definitely makes it sticky. GA lawyer, once it's in a joint account, it is presumed to be a gift to the marital estate, and thus marital property presumption presumption can be overcome by clear evidence of intent to the contrary. Ooh. And then obviously that was a J lawyer. Someone else comes in saying by MD lawyer here, but don't practice family law. How do Georgia family courts view a spouse who clears a joint account like this in an anticipation of divorce? Now, that is definitely another question that is quite good to ask, ladies and gentlemen. So again, there's a lot of opposites. There's a lot of this and that, but I think the main purpose of this video was to confirm where the money came from, and the money came from Karen, and that's pretty much what it is in a nutshell at this moment in time. You could notice, and of course, because it came from Karen, of course, this is money that wasn't a trust fund for Chantel. So therefore, Chantel obviously is the owner of the money. But obviously, like this people saying here, given the fact this money was removed from the trust fund and transferred into their joint account, which therefore becomes a marital one, then I guess that could change things. And if it does, then that 100% does suck Chantel, and that means that Pedro has done one hell of a madness on her. Even if he did originally love her from the very beginning, the matter of the fact is he was looking to walk away with money that he didn't even earn, he didn't even deserve. The money that was put in there at the greater good of Chantel's mother to help them both, live a happy life and not a happy life, but help them, start off on the right step in terms of, buying a home and anything else that they needed, obviously moving forward. This makes a lot of sense why Karen was actually talking about children as well, because early in the season she was hinting at when are my grandkids coming, and it's clear because clearly, if she's put money forward, she's like, listen, like this money just ain't for you to just to chill on, like you got kids to make, and then you can feed them and all that kind of stuff. So that could allude why Karen is all, and it also alludes why Karen's always been so heavily involved in the relationship as well, because pretty much she is funding the relationship in a sense, right? It's a bit of a mad one. Now, also at the same time, it does say here, this is a bit of a long one, but I'm going to read it. First time reading it, someone did tell me right here and said, if there was 500K or even 400K, and she took out 250K and put it in a checking account or low risk investment account, is probably reasonable, but even possibly advisable. She essentially just making sure he doesn't drain it while she's still leaving him enough to live off in the meantime. The money she took out would still be marital property, even though it's in her separate account, and would be split equally. That's fake. But her moving the money probably wouldn't be held against her. I mean, honestly, that sounds like music to my ears. If there was a 250K in the account and she cleared the account, leaving him with no way to live in the meantime, a judge would take into account during equitable division. It wouldn't be good. I mean, end of the day, to be honest with you, if Pedro is looking to leave Chantel, he should have made sure that he had money saved in his own account rather than relying on money that was in a joint account. End of the day, before you decide to leave someone, make sure you got money in your own account. Don't think you're going to walk away with the money in the account, because, of course, once you start going for the divorces and whatnot, the money there doesn't necessarily become yours. If anything, you probably can't use it for a certain amount of time. But again, that's me just winging it. I'm not saying that's factual, but I know when people go through breakups, money is a big issue. And that is something that you have to be careful with at the very beginning as well. So it's important to have your own money. So even if she took the whole money out and left no money in there for himself, he should have still have money for himself anyway, because that means he was looking to break up with her and walk away with basically the money that was put in her by her mother, rather than walk away with money of his own account. So if he's been trying to break up with her with money that wasn't even really his, in terms of earning it, then that is quite disgusting and despicable and just stupid, and proves even more that this guy was just using Chantel, with anything. He got to a point where he just thought, I'm just going to use you now, if anything. And it is quite ironic how he's now decides to leave her after this trust fund has been activated and then being transferred into the joint account as well. So that's all things we have to look into. It also says here that the worst is of gifted to wait. The worst is of she gifted to her mum or wasted the money. That would not look good at a favorable, and a judge would almost certainly consider it a determined equitable division. Could potentially be considered fraudulent transfer as well. Wow. The fact that Chantal could potentially be targeted as a fraudulent transfer as well is not good. Also, if it was really a business account, then it's going to be it's going to be just as messy. They would likely be considered partnership. She would owe him obviously the money for the duties, etc. It might end up costing her less, but it would be messy. Wow. Okay, so there's a lot I've obviously uncovered as well from other things that people have said. Thank you for that. Again, obviously, I cannot confirm that everything that I'm telling you right now is 100% accurate, but these are things that are obviously, within the right direction. So I guess we've got to wait and find out and see if we can get any more information that is slightly more concrete. and to show whether or not, and to show what's going to happen with the money moving forward. Because at this moment in time, it is not looking necessarily good for Pedro if this money is Chantel's, but it is also at the same time, it may not be looking good for Chantel if his money was moved into a account that means that they're both, you know, viable for it. But hey, I'm pretty sure things will get leaked at some point. Let's be real, it's TLC. So when we get more information, I will most certainly let you lovely people know. But thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to like, to subscribe. Obviously, if you do subscribe, that means you stay up to date with everything that we do here. So make sure you subscribe and don't forget to comment down below too. But we are done and we are out.